What's going on, guys? Today I wanted to bring you another one of my 2014 WCQ hat format deck profiles. The deck I wanted to show off today is Madolche Ghostrick, or as people in the community call it, Trick or Treat. It's a very interesting deck that combines the best parts of Madolche with the Ghostrick engine, and while that might sound really strange, this deck in 2014 did have regional tops, and even into modern hat format tournaments does have some tops as well. I was trying to think of like the best way to kind of describe this deck to make it make a little more sense, and the best thing I could think of is if you think of a deck, say like Geargia Karakuri, that combines the powerful combos of Karakuri with the slower control grind game of Geargia, it becomes Geargia Karakuri. So it's kind of the same concept where you're taking the slow control-y Ghostrick engine and combining it with the heavy combo Madolche engine, and it kind of creates a very interesting mid-range deck that can play a slow grind game or combo off and just OTK the opponent. So I'm excited to show this deck off, so let's get straight into it. So starting off with the Ghostrick monsters, we are playing 3 copies of Ghostrick Jiangshi. All the Ghostricks have the basic effect where they can't be normal summoned unless you control another Ghostrick monster, and then once per turn you can flip them to face down defense position. This one has the effect that when it's flipped face up, you can add a Ghostrick monster from your deck to your hand with a level less than or equal to the number of face-up Ghostrick monsters you control. So usually you're just going to be using this to add a level 1, but it's a very important card. It being a level 3 with 1800 defense means a lot of cards can't just run over it, and it's really good because it allows you to keep a level 3 on board, which with your Madolches, you're able to then make some powerful rank 3s that help with your combos. After that, we play 3 copies of Ghostrick Mary. It has the basic Ghostrick effect, and then when you take damage, you can discard this card and special summon a Ghostrick monster from your deck in face-down defense position. Usually this is going to be summoning your Jiangshi, and for the Madolche side of the deck, this is in the graveyard now from its effect, so you're able to, say, banish it for your Hoot Cake that we'll get to in a bit, so it's also really nice to be able to have a card that goes straight to graveyard. After that, you play only 4 more Ghostrick monsters in the main deck, and these are more so utility cards, so I play 2 copies of Ghostrick Lantern when your opponent declares a direct attack, or when a face-up Ghostrick monster you control is targeted for an attack. You can negate the attack, and if you do, special summon this card from your hand in face-down defense position. So that is really good. A lot of times, if you're trying to keep that Jiangshi around, basically if they have something like a fire or ice hand, they attack into it, you can add that, the Lantern, and then if they have a monster that could beat over the Jiangshi, you're able to just go for the Lantern. Or, say your opponent has a monster that can beat over the Jiangshi, what you're able to do is summon or search a copy of your Spectre, and so when that Jiangshi dies, you're able to special summon your Spectre and draw a card. What this one does is when a Ghostrick monster is destroyed by an opponent's card effect or by their attacking monster, and sent to the graveyard, you special summon this card from your hand in face-down defense position and draw a card. So it's a way to keep board presence. Or I also play 1 copy of Ghostrick Jack Frost. When your opponent monster declares a direct attack, you can special summon this card from your hand in face-down defense position, and it basically book-a-moons that opponent's attacking monster. So these are just kind of dependent on what plays are going on, but in general, the Ghostrick engine is extremely strong for slowing down the game and keeping some form of advantage and board presence. After that, the Madolche side of the deck is very similar to my Madolche deck, so I'll just quickly go through it. 3 copies of Magdalene on normal or flipped face up. you can add a Madolche monster from deck to hand. 3 copies of Madolche Angeli, it's Lone Fire for your Madolches, and then the monster that is summoned by that effect can't be destroyed by battle, and during your next end phase shuffles back into the deck. I guess I should also say all the Madolches, when they're destroyed by battle or card effect in your possession and sent to graveyard, they will shuffle themselves back into the deck. After that, 3 copies of Madolche H.A.T. This is one of your key combo enablers, simply because you can banish a monster in your graveyard and special summon a Madolche monster from your deck. So that is really good to tutor out whatever you need. So again, if you have like a Ghostrick monster on your field, for example, like a Jiangshi that's a level 3, and say you had summoned that off of, say, the Mary, you can just summon this, banish the Mary, summon another Madolche, and then you can use this with the Jiangshi, make a rank 3, and keep going off. 2 copies of Madolche Messengelato. This is kind of one of your bricks of the deck, but you have to play it. There's even been points where like I've considered bumping this up, which might sound crazy, but it's very important in this deck specifically. And so what this one does is, when it's special summoned while you control a beast-type Madolche monster, you're able to add a Madolche spell or trap from your deck to your hand. So very, very strong card there. And after that, still just 1 copy of Madolche Mufuli. When it's normal summoned, you can special summon a Madolche monster from your hand. So really, really good being a extender. Same type of thing where Mufu plus your Angeli is your full combo. In a lot of cases, also Mufu plus Hootcake is a main combo, but it really just varies on what the rest of your hand is and the board state of the game. We're still playing some hand traps, so 2 copies of Max C. All the Ghostricks, for the most part, are hand traps too, so drawing into more of that or just combo pieces is really good. And 2 DD Crow, because, you know, stopping your opponent is really good as well. So just a good bit of hand traps there. Some builds will play the hands. I prefer to side the hands in this deck just because I'd rather see the main components of Ghostricks or Madolches, especially since you already have enough normal summons and sets. It kind of just adds extra complications to the deck. For the spells, 1 Chateau and 1 Ticket. This is, again, very similar to my Madolche builds. I still sometimes want to play 2 Chateau, but currently keeping this deck at a low count is a little difficult, so just the 1 and 1. Chateau obviously giving your Madolche monsters a attack boost, and then anytime a Madolche monster would be shuffled into the deck from its card effect or whatever, you can add them to your hand instead. And Ticket, when a Madolche card is returned from your side of the field or graveyard to your hand or main deck, you're able to add a Madolche monster from your deck to your hand, and then it has the effect that you can special summon it if you have a Fairy Madolche type monster. So both very important cards in the deck for Madolche in general. 2 copies of Forbidden Lance, and lastly 2 copies of MST. I've talked about these cards so many times, I'm not going to really explain it here. Just very solid cards to out problem cards or make sure your plays go through. You don't play Soul Charge in this deck, just because most of the time the Madolches are shuffling themselves back into the deck, and Hootcake kind of becomes like a 1-card combo in itself a lot of times, and you don't really want to summon back your Ghostricks either, so that's why you see no Soul Charge. For the traps, 2 copies of Trap Stun. If I wasn't playing MST, I'd probably play the 3rd of this. Just ways to make sure your combos go off when need be. 2 copies of Breakthrough Skill, just as negation. Very, very strong cards. Basically counts as multiple 4 cards because they have its field negation, and then when they're in grave, it becomes more negation. So really good. 1 Bottomless, 1 Compulse, which can actually trigger your Madolche Ticket if you bounce your own monster. 1 Torrential, and 1 Solemn Warning. I've never been a fan of the Madolche trap, the Palooza, but you could, in theory, play Palooza if you wanted to as well. The extra deck is sort of tight for this deck, so there's a lot of different variation you can play, so this is just what I'm currently playing. 2 copies of Tiramisu, being able to detach a material and then target up to 2 Madolche cards in your graveyard, shuffle them into the deck, and then non-targeting shuffle opponents' cards they control into their deck is really strong. And again, this targets Madolche cards, so you can put back your spells. 1 Black Ship of Corn for hands and other problematic cards. 1/101, 1 Downward Magician. During the main phase 2, you can stack it on top of your rank 3 or lower Xyz, and then it gains a bit of attack. It can do piercing. Just a really versatile card that's almost like a bridge between both engines in a weird way, so kind of cool there. 1 Heartland Draco, 1 Diamond Direwolf, 1 Exciton, 1 Dweller, and the last rank 4 is number 80. There's times where I want to play some other things for rank 4s. For example, like a Giant Hand would be kind of cool. Or there's a couple other rank 4s I'm trying to remember exactly. Oh, like Cowboy. But there's just not the space. But I would definitely consider those as options as well. For other Xyz, we play 1 Alucard, being able to obviously pop back row, as well as making so your opponent can't target your set monsters for attacks, which can be relevant. And also, when it's sent to the graveyard, you can add a Ghostrick card from your grave back to hand. So, like, if you make this and then make a Downward on top of it when it would lose a material or whatever, and this would fall to grave, you will get to add back one of your Ghostrick cards. So really, really good. Hopefully I said Ghostrick throughout that whole thing and didn't say Madolche on accident, but in general, great card. 1 Levier for your combos with your Madolche cards, and same with Invoker, being able to grab your Messengelato out of deck. These are cards that, like I've talked about before, where you could play more copies. I would say if you were to, probably a second Levier. But given that I already don't have enough space in this deck, I think it's kind of where it needs to be. I would almost want to play something like an Acid Golem or a Soul of Silver Mountain as well. And then I do play 2 rank 2s, or 2 rank 1s, I mean. 1 Dullahan, being able to cut monsters' attack in half. And also, it gains a bit of attack for Ghostrick cards you control, and it also has the effect when it goes to grave to add a Ghostrick card back. And 1 Slacker Magician, just as a stall card. It has 2100 defense for a rank 1 that needs level 1, so that's kind of crazy. And then once per turn, it can't be destroyed by battle, and if your opponent targets it, you can detach a material and I believe it's negate and destroy that card, or negate the activation and destroy that card. So really, really powerful card, and you can, again, put the Downward on top of these during your main phase 2, so it has a lot of uses. But that is it for this deck profile. If you guys have any questions, definitely comment those in the comments section. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Share this video with your friends. Make sure you're liking the videos, checking out all the other videos I have, as well as like the highlight shorts that I've been putting out recently. They're very cool. And anyways, I will see you guys in the next video.